Hey fishing family, it's Fitz coming at you with a new video. As you can see, I'm still at work. Sorry that I don't have a fishing video up yet, but I promise you it's coming. What I wanted to talk to you about was the cold water fishing. I posted a small little video with me at a cold lake a couple of weeks ago, talking about, you know, experimenting with cold water baits or what works when because if you live in Georgia or down south like I do, the weather's pretty much bipolar. It goes up and down. It cannot decide what it wants to do, especially when it's trying to transition from winter to spring. Now, what I've put together here is pretty much all the baits that work for me on a cold water bite, as well as a transition into spring. So it's mostly pre-spawn for the most part. Like I said, it's the things that work for me. I mean, there might be some different things that work for you guys, and that's cool. And if you see something that I'm about to show you that or there's something on here that you don't see, I should say, that works for you, let me know. I'll try it, because I don't know everything. The one thing I love about this sport is that we all are always learning something new every day. Now, first things first, and it kind of goes without saying, the first thing I'm going to use, especially in the pre-spawn, jig. The jigs are very versatile. I mean, honestly, you can use these baits year-round. I love them to death. They're so good. This is the Fitzgerald 1 ounce mega jig that I reviewed the other day. Put a StrikeKing Rage Crow on it. Now, like I said, I'm showing you the black and blue speckled. I said sometimes the fish are really finicky and they might require a little more contrast, so that's why I got this here. This is the one that it's more of a blue sapphire. Like I said, it gives it more contrast, kind of helps it stand out a little bit. If they won't bite, like I said, if they won't bite this black and blue speckle, I'll go to this, and normally that's what will trigger them. Of course, you know, pumpkin seed swim jig. Like I said, very versatile bait. You can use this any time of the year. Absolutely love this. I actually can't wait to use this weekend, to be honest with you. It's really, really nice. Now, there's a jig I didn't show you. It's a pumpkin head. No, not pumpkin head, I'm sorry, football head. I'm thinking of a movie, I guess. But no, it's a football head jig. Now, I'm fairly certain anybody that's fishing is going to know what a football head jig is, but I'm going to speak to the ones that might be new to the sport and don't know what it does. Pretty much, this is the one that you want to bounce on, like rocks and like in transition areas, especially in it'll sit there and bounce on the bottom for you. You just sit there and just bounce it. It normally, like I said, 9 times out of 10, when you're going to get a bite off a jig, it's normally on the fall. But sometimes you do have to walk it into the area, because I mean, jigs are target oriented baits, but they're not precision target oriented baits. You can just throw this at a stump, cover, anything like that, and it's gonna work. All right, second, crankbaits. Oh, dropping everything. It's the crankbait. Now, I would do a shad I would have a shad variation now. These are two. This is I think it's a Bailey or Bagley. I can't remember. It's some kind of off-brand, but I have gotten bites off of it, mainly because of the rage color, the red, the orange variation. It does get bites. Now this one is the one I've gotten the most bites on whenever I throw it this time of year. It's Livingston. I'm pretty sure it's a Gunnerville crawl color. I'm not entirely sure. I got to go back and check it, but I've always learned, especially down here in the south, you want to throw something shad, a shad pattern or a shad pattern with a crawl color, because they'll really trigger in on this, especially if they're feeding on crawfish, which for the most part they're always going to be. Now this one goes without saying, jerkbait. Now the jerkbait, as some of you know, is probably going to be one of the ones that I use the most on top of some of the other ones. I mean, and I'll describe that a little bit later, but yeah, the jerk bait is honestly, it's a definite go-to. When you can't get them to bite anything else, you throw this jerk bait, they will bite it. I can't swear up and down it enough. Now this is a LivingstonLures jerk bait with a shad pattern. I'm not sponsored by Livingston at all, so don't think that I'm sitting here just endorsing them because they sponsor me. No, I'm sitting here talking about it because it works. Now, one of the reasons why it works is Livingston has this really cool little system called the EBS, electronic bait fish sound system, in it. Pretty much when this thing, or when this bait or any of the other Livingston baits that have it hit the water, it starts chirping. It makes this bait fish sound, and I'm not gonna lie, it drives the bass nuts. I will be talking about when I do a top water segment, I will be talking about a Livingston bait on that one too, because they went nuts for that one. Now, there's two classes here, but I'm going to be, or excuse me, these pretty much are the same, are the two separates, but I'm just going to show them separate. And next bait is going to be, oops, excuse me, sorry, I'm going to be the spinnerbait. Now, like I said, there's different variations. You want to go, sometimes you want to go a little bit bright because you do want to have some contrast in that muddy water. And normally they're going to go for like a bright shad pattern, and when it is muddy, I do sometimes prefer Colorado blade because it like will stir up a lot more. I can't remember the other blades off the top of my head right now. Sorry, I just woke up. But like I said, you want different variations of blades and things, or different variations of blades. Sometimes you want to actually change the blades out. This is a StrikeKing KVD 3/8 ounce blade, or spinnerbait. And like I said, I'm not endorsed by these baits at all. Like I'm not endorsed by these companies at all. I'm just telling you what works for me. I love this variation of it because I get them to bite because it has a little bit of red. You can see there's a little bit of speckled red mixed in there, more of a gill flash kind of pattern, and it just drives them nuts and they strike it. Like I've gotten a lot of, one of my biggest fish was on a StrikeKing bait, a StrikeKing spinnerbait. Now, the next one, like I said, same idea, just different variants. It's the chatterbait, or a bladed jig. Now, the different variations of colors, like I said, you know, you saw that I had, with the spinnerbaits, I had kind of a speckled shad and just a white. This one, with the chatterbaits, I've had kind of a speckled chartreuse shad color work for me, along with, of course, you're going to need to add a trailer, add a bulk and profile to it. And the black and blue is just, honestly, to me, black and blue is a go-to, because if they don't strike this, I know they will strike this. But like I said, that's just my experience. Now, it's not, I'm sure like a lot of other fishermen out there will probably say, no, I have more luck with chartreuse than I do black and blue, or chartreuse shad, whatever. I'm just giving you my heads up on what works for me. And especially if you're down south, these baits do work. Now, I don't have the hook with me, but the next thing I would throw is a Texas rig, and I would like hook up like a bug, like a rage craw bug, or even a craw, or crawfish, a rage crawfish. And really depending on the fish. Now, you normally want to hook it up with a, I would prefer a tungsten. You can do a lead, but the tungsten, it's going to let you feel I mean, just something about that tungsten helps you feel the bottom of the lake or pond. You're throwing this a lot easier. Now, sometimes putting the weight on it's the wrong way to go, because it's going to fall different, and that the bass might not be, they might not be in that frenzied mode. They're going to want something that's going to fall slow and kind of get their attention, but not to the point of scaring them. So sometimes you might want to just fish something like this weightless, because I've gotten a lot of strikes off of these weightless. So anyway, last but not least, and I shouldn't say that, because I left it off because it's kind of I've gotten fish off of it. It's a technique that works, but this is, remember how I said a jig is a targeted oriented bait but not precision? This one's the precision, and unfortunately it only really, in my opinion, works unless you're sight fishing or you have electronics that show you exactly where the fish are, because if you just randomly throw it, it's not gonna work. Mr. Shaky Head. Now, shaky head, just wet lead, you know, hook with a little bit of lead, and you put like a little square tail or one of these little worms on there. But like I said, it's very target. This is precision target oriented. You throw this where you know the fish are, not where you guess they're going to be. Because if you just guess that's where they're going to be and you're dead wrong, this will kill your confidence quick. I ain't gonna lie. But like I said, if you do know that there's fish there and they're not biting anything else, they will bite this. But like I said, it only is effective. Excuse me. It's only effective if you are 100% sure they're in that area. Now, I always say go with green because you can't go wrong with green, but sometimes they're not up for that, especially if the water's really clear. Now, if you want really clear and the sun's shining, I do kind of this black and silver speckle, almost shad kind of color. And I do, like I said, when we get the strike off that green, I will get a strike off this. I know that. So, anyway, but these are the baits that, like I said, they work for cold water for me. They might not work for all of you, because some of you, I mean, I might fish them a little differently. But if you guys can think of anything that I left off that really does work, please leave it in the comments and give us a subscription and a thumbs up if you like the content. Also, I want to send a shout out to very recently made acquaintance, Bubbaville Bassin and Black Label Bassin. I'm going to leave the links to their channels in the description. I actually spoke with Bubba for a while. He, really cool cat. He's making his own baits now. He's trying to start his own company. He's shown me some pictures of the fish he's caught in his videos. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He also, yeah, he's a king of chatterbait, dude. I mean, it's sick, like what his videos, because he pulls in a lot of quantity of fish along with quality. But anyway, like I said, thank you for watching. And please give Bubbaville Bassin and Black Label a subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video.